Rohan is weak, and the Westfold shall burn, and Isengard shall reign supreme. Hey, how's it going, guys? My name is JackieFish, and welcome back to some more Total War Rise of Mordor. Let me quickly go ahead and mute the music so I don't get copyright striked as well. And today we are diving in with an epic 3 vs 2 online battle. This is going to be the defense of the Westfold, and the men of Rohan have rallied to their forts, preparing to repel the attacking forces of Dunland and Isengard. And I absolutely love this map. This is one of the minor maps they actually added in the most recent Rohan patch, and it's actually really cool, and I love that they're actually doing this. They're creating these small maps that represent, I think it's like small villages. They've got like medium villages and large villages in the game, and this is going to be great for when the campaign comes out. So it's great to start to see a few of the settlements actually being brought into the game. So it's a really basic settlement. It's just kind of an outer wall, got some farmland here, and then a bunch of housing, nothing too special, and the defenders are going to really have to be pressed to defend this. This map also really actually reminds me, I don't know if you guys agree, but it really reminds me of the Thrones of Britannia maps, which are very much like this. So yeah, I can't wait to see how the men of Rohan can defend this. They are outnumbered. This is a 3 vs 2, so they're going to have to really try and make sure that they make the attackers pay for every single inch. You can see just off in the distance some of the arrow fire coming in now. I imagine focusing down the soldiers at the gate itself. Right there, we have the men of the men of the mark unleashing fire arrows. Yeah, I guess trying to burn down that ram as best as they can. So obviously, as the attackers, as well, I didn't even mention, we have 2 forces from Dunland and then an army from Isengard. So lots of Uruks, lots of evil men, and plenty of other stuff. I mean, obviously defending, we do have 2 armies of Rohan, 2 garrison armies. So again, they are fairly outnumbered. There's 4,000 defenders and then over 5,800 attackers. So a lot about to come flying down. Men of Rohan have a lot of axe thanes on their front line, ready to kind of meet the attackers that come off these siege towers. And also a bunch of cavalry. I'm actually surprised we're not seeing much cavalry being pushed outside of the settlement. They could obviously use this back entrance right now to get their cavalry through the woods, but obviously not the plan for them right now. So yeah, at the moment they are just volleying off, trying to do as much damage as that siege tower. Yeah, that ram is not going down anytime soon. I guess they are hitting some of the Uruk infantry, which is pretty nice. Obviously, any casualties you can do on these guys early on is always good. But yeah, that ram is not going down, that is for sure. Only at 20% damage, so that's going to be able to make its way to the wall and smash down that gate so they can flood in their infantry and start to use that numbers advantage that they do have. Obviously, the siege towers as well getting very, very close. And it does seem like they have a lot more siege towers than Rohan has defensive units. See the rest of the infantry moving up off in the distance, looking to get into range as best as they can. Yeah, I mean, so far, this is going to be a hard battle. I mean, Rohan are mainly defending, like, this kind of left-hand side, and then obviously the inner layer as well. They have this, like, last stand. I believe as well that these positions can be burnt down. If you set a blaze to, like, a house or something, or shoot this unit of spearmen, I'm pretty sure you can burn down all this outer defense, and that can obviously be used to outflank your opponent. So we'll have to see if the attackers take that into consideration. But here we go. The first siege towers are now hitting the wall, and there you go. Men of Dunland charging in unmolested. There's nothing here whatsoever. I mean, obviously the main defense is over on this other side, and there you go. The first fighting really kicking off, but I feel like Rohan just do not have enough men at these siege tower points whatsoever. They're going to find themselves in a very bad situation very quickly, honestly. This unit of axemen are now obviously moving in, but look at that. Look at all the siege towers coming down. It's relentless. And yeah, this is a very gappy defense, but I guess this is the burning of the Westfold, so it's not exactly like they would be having a wealth of armies stationed in this settlement. But yeah, I mean, this is a little bit scary, I'm not going to lie. Cavalry coming in, though, and this is obviously going to be one of the good advantages, is that they can use this open ground in this fort. Like, there is a lot of open terrain where this cavalry truly can shine. So almost letting these kind of gaps appearing is not a bad idea. I also, as well, like the idea of them bringing over some archers and also another siege tower a little bit later on. We get another charge coming in here, smashing into the side of the knights. Sorry, of the Uruk infantry. And I'm assuming Theoden or maybe Theodred will be out here defending. in the new Rohan patch. They also have a few characters as well, which is great to see. They actually recently showed over on their Discord one of the new Ring Wraith models, which look absolutely amazing. I think it's one of the Ring Wraith models that were in Harad with the new Haradrian update that will be coming soon. The garrison of the Hornburg falling back. This is a special unique unit. And then the cavalry is going to be moving in to try and just hammer these guys. There is also fighting at the gatehouse as well as Isengard push their way forward. The spear guard holding firm though. And doing a good job at holding that line. How is the rest of the battlefield going? I mean, it just looks very, very dangerous. Yeah, basically having to give up the entire settlement over on this left-hand side. We also got the artillery coming in as well. Oh, trying to pick off some cavalry and doing an amazing job. Look how many horses they took down there. Wow, that is brutal. And a good that artillery man deserves a goddamn raise. Able to take out half of this unit of Knights of the Mark. That's like 600 gold right there for a little bit of ammunition. Not bad whatsoever. Yes, you can see that the defenders realizing that they just do not have the manpower to deal with this. They've gone ahead and just decided to go ahead and like kind of cut off the entrances. And just kind of like segregate the attackers into this little blob, which is not a bad idea. We have some axemen on this left-hand side going at it against the Bloodsworn of the Dunland tribes. These guys are obviously extremely aggressive. Very good shock infantry unit. You can see they've got kind of weapons from Isengard as well, which is always one of the nice things about the roster of Dunland, is like they have that Isengard armory outfitting them. I'm also really impressed here about how well the I mean, these are guards of the Golden Hall. Obviously, they're a very strong unit. They're doing a really good job at holding this line. Also, by the way, guys, I have no idea why the game is stuttering like this. It's not like it's a big battle. Maybe it's something to do with the map. So I do apologize when we do get them seconds of lag. I don't exactly know why it is. We play 20,000 man battles and the game runs fine. So I do apologize if you noticed that. I will acknowledge it, just so you guys know that you're not crazy. Some more axemen fighting over here. But yeah, if we take a look at the overall battlefield now that kind of things have kind of shaped up the defense, we have, yeah, this, oh my god, this right-hand side is actually completely gone already. The cavalry is running around, though, doing a great job. Up to 111 kills now on this unit of cavalry, able to get in and just absolutely flatten these weakened units of Uruk-hai. And just kind of ping-ponging, doing the famous 12-12 ping-pong, where you go to one unit, then you hit the other one, and you kind of just go back and forth. However, we are seeing more and more infantry scattering into the settlement itself. And as more and more infantry gets thrown into the settlement, you'll see, you know, these armies and these cavalrymen getting bogged down. And that's when things really start to become a problem. Over on this other side as well, these men of Rohan have now been enveloped. And they are fighting with their backs against the walls. And unfortunately, I think their days are definitely numbered there. How many kills? They only racked up 20 kills as well, which is unfortunate. And now the rest of the Isengard army is making its way inside of the settlement. The cavalry's done a great job here. The combined arms effort that they've gone ahead and pushed in has been enough to break up, I think, 3 units of Uruk-hai infantry out here. So that's going to definitely lessen the blow. However, more infantry coming in is pretty deadly. Over on the far left-hand side for Rohan as well, we are seeing the more elite infantry of Dunland now being lobbed in. Expected to hold the line against, you know, heavy frontline infantry. And unfortunately, in this scenario, Rohan are just severely outmatched. However, again, there are opportunities for their cavalry. They can get a unit of horse around here. They can obviously utilize that and just come flying through this gap and hitting these guys in the side. But Dunland are using that number advantage and just making sure they're engaging Rohan on every single flank, which is really honestly the way to do it. You always have to make sure that you're just stretching the defenders as best as you can, every possible way. Because unfortunately, if you allow the defenders time to breathe, they'll be able to like plug the holes in their formation and in their defense. Whereas if you're attacking every single position, they just do not have the time to do that. whatsoever. And then we also got the engagement over on his left-hand side. The attackers using the wall to their advantage, using these gaps to get around. And unfortunately, I guess the Rohan player just isn't microing over here because it's, yeah, the unit of infantry stuck on the wall. And unfortunately, their fellow Rohirrim are dying. There you go. The right-hand side has now gone. But I do have 2 more units of infantry over here, which is not bad. 2 more units of Sword Fame, which we'll obviously have to deal with. But right now, they can also now just charge directly into the back of these guys, get loads of kills on them, and just really thin out the defenders. Is that gatehouse taken as well? Yeah, the gatehouse has been taken, so they can just filter as many men in here as possible. Cavalry coming in now as well to try and stem the bleeding as best as it can. Obviously, a charge through your own units is never normally that effective. Yeah, you can see, didn't really do much right there. Unfortunately, charging through your own units is never going to be too successful. The attackers have also managed to get a unit of shock infantry into the back of the defense of the gate. But as long as the defenders keep them towers shooting, they definitely stand a chance. And obviously the cavalry can also come in now. A nice little rear charge here could be devastating against the shock infantry. They've also thrown in more of their axe veins as well as the arrow volleys come in. Try and pick off maybe a few units of the Dunland swordsmen. But overall, not a bad job. It seems like the defense at the gate has been successful. The open field battle here has been pretty decent with the cavalry coming in. However, the horses have taken a lot of casualties. This unit is 179 kills, but the Knights of the House of Ale are basically dealt with now. Cavalry on this side is looking pretty thin. There's still a handful of horses left remaining. But yeah, we've got Prince Phaedrid here defending. You can actually see his actual custom model as well. It's always nice when they put the attention to detail right there, adding in a few unique models to the factions. I think it's going to obviously add a lot of life to them. And there he is. The Prince, we unfortunately never got to see him in movies. We saw him in the extended edition, but that was about it. And yeah, I mean, Rohan are doing a decent job. I think this right-hand side's a little bit shaky as they've you know, going to be able to quite happily take care of these sword fanes over here without too much trouble. We're seeing Rohan are actually being aggressive on this side, actually pushing up their battle line, just really trying to delay. I guess they don't want any more infantry to like surround these guys, which is a bit surprising. Nice little charge there. I believe Dunland managed to get that charge off. The Dunland are a little bit weaker. This unit is down to 72 men, but it is already up to 93 kills. I think at that like kind of position where the sword fanes have a huge advantage, they'll be able to deal with these guys fairly effectively and hopefully stem the bleeding. But yeah, there's a lot of infantry now, a lot of Dunhead chosen making its way over, and these guys also have throwing axes as well, which are pretty deadly. But so far, the defense of Rohan is holding, and it's holding well. I'm actually very impressed with the frontline infantry that Rohan have. I wasn't really putting a lot of weight in these sword fanes, but they're doing decently. They are holding their own, and yeah, you definitely can't fault that. I mean, they are in shield wall as well, which must be helping a ton. Giving you the extra melee defense, the extra mass, and also missile resistance. But more reinforcements arriving to help fill in the gaps where the routed men are creating. And yeah, I mean, this constant stream of infantry, that numbers advantage is going to start to come into play. As you can see, Rohan has not come out of this unscathed. They've lost a decent portion of their army, 1,500 men, whereas the attackers have lost around about 1,600 men. So yeah, right so far, I think the numbers are going to come into play very, very soon. And Rohan are going to, yeah, end up running out of their valuable manpower they don't have enough of. I also, again, have to go back to the map. I really like this design of the map because not only does it, you know, it's very like kind of Rohan-esque, but I also like how we got like a big open field here that plays into Rohan's strategy with using the cavalry. So if you're ever using this map on a campaign map, you know, this is a great position to defend because it allows you to use your cavalry very effectively. Same over here as well with these big, like, I just like the way that it kind of like fits the faction, not only aesthetically, but also in the playstyle. as another unit of Chosen charge in, able to take down a handful of the men of the mark on that charge. Devastating. We also are seeing some infantry like up here. Wouldn't be a bad idea. I mean, obviously we're going to be getting some soldiers being pushed up, but it wouldn't be a bad idea to maybe try and send these guys around and try and just like break these straggling units that are very low, because as you can see, like the attackers haven't really thrown their infantry inside of a settlement, which I always think is a bad idea. I think you should always try and get as much, like, unless the enemy have like archer pits ready to slaughter you and death traps, like I always think it's a good idea to have the majority of my army inside of a settlement, because it just allows you to react to these like breaking units very effectively, and it stops you from allowing the defenders a moment to breathe. You really want to just be keeping up that pressure constantly. So when you do have access to a gate like this, I'd have a lot of my army just raring to go, ready, like staged, preparing to push in and do some damage. Also, it's a pretty good fight over here. This unit of Dunher Chosen are stuck in now, lobbing their axe. I don't know where they're throwing them. But this unit of Shock Infantry should be in a pretty good matchup against the Sword Thanes, who are already a little bit tired from the initial battle. So that should be a couple hundred kills on them over on that side. We are getting some cavalry being pushed in now as well, which is a really good opportunity and a nice move there. As you can see, a gap has appeared, and this is what I'm saying. This is why you need to have your army inside the settlement as best as you can, because just think how quickly you could have exploited this gap. You know, this unit broke and this unit's broken. Like, you could quite quickly lob a lot of your units completely through these gaps right away and prevent the defenders from really being able to do anything, like prevent them from being able to retreat. But I think, yeah, the outer layer has definitely fallen now, with only a few units of infantry still left remaining on this outer wall. The cavalry able to break its way through as well and get a nice little charge off on these yeomans of the mark. And now I think we'll be seeing the armies moving in and then preparing for this inner defense. I mean, there's really not a lot of men left for Rohan whatsoever. 1,600 men. That is absolutely nothing. I mean, obviously, we'll be getting some cavalry charges, but yeah, right now, the defenders are trying to get the hell out of there. Obviously, the cavalry is acting as a rear guard, trying to harass. And again, 116 kills on this unit of cavalry. Not bad, considering this is one of the cheaper ones as well. Definitely made its money's worth, but unfortunately, I think we will be seeing the outer defense has been completely overrun now, and unfortunately there is not much left whatsoever. We still have a few fights over here, and honestly these Dunher Chosen haven't done as well as I expected. I mean, or maybe the Sword Thanes have just done way better than I expected. But obviously we will be seeing the outflank coming in now as well. I assume these guys will be going all the way around the settlement. And then just hitting these guys in the back. No, they're just going to be charging in. I mean, brute force is also a very valid strategy in Total War, so getting themselves stuck in, I'm sure, will be very valuable. And yeah, the rest of the army coming in. So cool. Let's go ahead and jump ahead until we begin this initial assault, because I imagine we'll be getting a lot of time of just forces moving inside of the settlement. The Westfold is truly burning of this day. So the armies have now made their way inside of the settlement. I mean, just look at the amount of ammunition that these guys have. There are 6 units of archers here, all with full ammunition, 2 units of crossbows over on his left-hand side. Unfortunately, this battle is turning into a slaughter, but I guess it's kind of the theme of the engagement, right? The Westfold burnt for a reason. You can also start to see some of the palisades have been broken down by the attackers, and now the men of Rohan are trying their best to plug the hole, but they just do not simply have the men to do so, and the Uruks are charging forward. But bravely are the men of Rohan fighting to the last. I mean, there is no escape at this point. This is it. They will fight here for the honor and glory of the Horse Lords and their forebears. More cavalry seemingly being reinforced in here again, and we've got some infantry as well. But every position is under heavy assault. The guards of the Golden Hall will be putting up a fairly strong last stand. But again, it's when these barricades start to go down, that's going to be the real problem. And you can also see, obviously, the arrow fire. It's going to be a lot of units now firing in from the side. And obviously all these other archers as well. They are also sending men all the way around the extreme right flank. I guess to try and maybe stop these towers from shooting, and then just push their men forward up here. And you can see more and more of the terrain is getting broken, because it is quite finicky. I don't think you can actually like click on these barricades. They kind of just like break when they break. I'm sure there is ways to manipulate them, but there's no specific way where you can like click to destroy them or burn them. Which is a shame. Like, it should be a really thing where you, like, just fire some arrows at it or something. Trying to unleash as many of the arrows that Rohan have stocked up, because once they're dead, they're not going to be able to use them. So trying to bring down as many of the Uruk's filth as they can. And there's a lot of arrow fire just moving in and out of this settlement. As more of a pikemen now push up. I mean, again, this is the thing as well, is that the men of Rohan don't have pikemen in their army. They're one of the factions that don't really get access to any polearms or pikes. Because normally they can forego that difficulty of not having the pikes with their obviously superior cavalry. They can exploit the slow-moving infantry. We got artillery coming in as well, it would seem. Yeah, trying its best to get a direct hit, unfortunately failing on all 3 shots. A few of the infantrymen have been able to get in between the pikes, though, which is going to be giving them a little bit of a nice attacking value right there. We are seeing more and more soldiers sent around. Or did you not even see this rear position as well? You can actually make your way all the way around the back here in this settlement and then attack from this side. Yeah, I mean, Rohan's minutes are numbered, that is for sure. With only 4 minutes left, I think the world of men will be crumbling very soon. And I think Isengard have also realized that they can go ahead and utilize this rear exit. And I am definitely one for that rear exit, able to, you know, get behind your enemies very, very effectively. And a good unit to send round the back is definitely this unit of Berserkers. I mean, look at these guys. Absolutely back muscles, 4 days. And unfortunately, imagine being like, I mean, no matter where you are in this settlement, you're going to die. But imagine being like for 20 men. Your unit's already been battered and you're like, yeah, go defend the back. And you see these guys coming towards you. The end is definitely here as the Berserkers clash in and just decapitate 6 or 7 of the 20 men here left remaining. And yeah, it's already broken through. Now going to be charging in onto Theodred himself, who, oh, this is actually Aemir right here. That's to fool his way back. The arrow fire coming in, but it's just simply not enough. And there you go. Aemir charging in again. You'll be able to see him. See, Aemir has some pretty unique red armor. There you go. You can see him right at the back there. And this is actually a really good engagement. If a shock infantry unit can pin down cavalry, they cut them to shreds. So this is actually not a bad engagement whatsoever. We've got 2 full units of Berserkers. Obviously, they're taking arrow fire. I'm sure these guys don't mind, as they'll be hopped up on something. The men of Rohan, though, putting up a fairly decent fight over on this other side, though, able to rout a couple more units. At least not going down without a fight, as the pikemen continue just to harass their neighboring counterparts very effectively. And yeah, I mean, there's still so much arrow fire left remaining as well. These arrows could definitely be used to burn the catapults and some fire arrows. Plenty of infantry around the side. Also now attacking from the far right hand side. So yeah, Rohan is just gonna, eventually one of these positions are gonna break. And that, unfortunately for Rohan, is gonna be all she wrote. They did put up a valiant defense. I think I really did enjoy the cavalry engagement over here, using the map very, very effectively. definitely to their advantage. But as you can see, there is just no hope left. As soon as any of these other positions break, it is over. Honestly, though, these gods of Golden Hall have done a good job at dealing with the pikemen, though, considering the range disadvantage. And also, I'm very impressed with the sword thanes this battle as well. They've also done an admirable job. Unfortunately, if I look at all the ammunition, the infantry are now running through the settlement. Aemir is dead. I'm sure Theodred will be down very, very soon. Infantry coming in, all that arrow fire as well, hammering around. Oh, we also have some sappers as well. Did they blow everything up? Oh, we're currently doing this for White Hand sappers. They're basically like the dudes who blow themselves up at Helm's Deep. And they must have killed everything here as there's a lot of fire. Yeah, they must have completely wiped out that unit. And there we go. The battle is over. Rear charge right there. And a close defeat. I mean, honestly, that was a pretty brutal defense. I don't think the defenders ever stood a chance. But they held the line for as long as they could. And as you can see, a lot of cavalry kills on these units. That is for sure. So if you guys enjoy this battle, make sure you go ahead and drop a like and a comment down below. If you want to see more Rise of Mordor, make sure to let me know as well. And obviously, if you have any good replays, feel free to send them in, as I would love to have more Rise of Mordor replays, as always, to bring you guys. So yeah, I'll see you guys in the next one, and fish out.